I'm Edie Lush, and I'm here in the Ice Hub, Glasgow, COP26. Delighted to be joined now by Guy Schanschieff. He is the CEO of Bambino Mio. Welcome.
Thank you.
So I'd love to know for you when the climate emergency became real.
I've been involved with reusable nappies and the nappy issue for nearly 30 years, and it was always, I suppose originally it was always just about the waste issue. But I think the relevance of nappies now in terms of their impact on the planet, reusables use 98% less raw materials, create 99% less waste, and their impact, I'm sort of, even 30 years later, still learning all the time about the significant impact of disposables and the benefits of reusables.
Well, let's just talk about the impact of disposables, because as countries become more wealthy, I imagine that people reach for disposables because it feels like a symbol of life is easier, I can afford this now, but what impact does that have on the planet?
Yeah, certainly in various parts of the world, specifically the global south, that's a real challenge because as those areas, as people do become more wealthy, you're exactly right. Disposables are seen as a status symbol, and in many countries where the waste infrastructure isn't there, single-use plastics and specifically the disposal of them becomes a real big problem. So we do work in countries in the Pacific where actually there is no municipal waste collection, and nappies can be, and parents are literally burying nappies on the beach, which is why nappies are the 27th biggest item that are found in oceans.
And what's the impact of that?
Nappies don't break down, and they take up to 500 years to start decomposing, and we've all seen the photos of single-use plastic items and the effect that it has to wildlife in the oceans.
Now there are some supposedly more eco products from some of the bigger names. How eco are they?
I would argue, and research suggests that potentially they're no better than regular disposables, and in many cases they can be worse. And the reality is, a lot of parents using those products will dispose of them in the same way, wrap them in a plastic bag, and they will end up in landfill. I think it's a discussion that I've heard here at COP that we've moved away. There is not much climate denial now. But the issue that we need to tackle, which is even more difficult, is the greenwashing. So many parents you speak to, most parents you speak to, know about the environmental issues around disposables. And with my cynical head on, it's very easy for disposable companies to imply that their products are more environmentally friendly without any proper regulation. And parents feel that it's easing their conscience, but the worst thing is actually, as I say, it is no better and probably worse. But parents are being asked to pay a significantly higher amount of money for these products, and actually there's no environmental benefit.
So what's the answer? Is it more legislation?
It's certainly not around taxing or banning disposable nappies, as is the case with other plastics products. It's all about education. There's some wonderful examples in the UK, but also further afield of local authorities actually funding their sets of reusable nappies for residents. I mean, there's a big financial side to this. Local authorities in the UK, 8% of household waste is disposable nappies in the UK, and obviously that's only going to get greater as recycling rates go up. So recycling comes out of the waste stream. 8% at the moment is disposable nappies, and it's costing local authorities nearly £200 million in the UK. So there are great examples of where on a local level, local government is helping parents buy into reusable nappies. One thing we're talking to government in the UK quite seriously about is some sort of national scheme that can help show parents the ease. There's a perceived barrier, which you can understand. Most companies making disposable nappies have very clever and very strong advertising departments, marketing departments with big budgets, and so it's about overcoming that perception that actually reusables are hassle. Our research tends to suggest about 20% of parents will use reusables at least for some of the time. May not use it all the time, but at least for some of the time. And so that move is happening anyway, even without any real government intervention, but certainly working with governments. Because what I think the other thing I've realised within COP is the nappy issue, although a difficult one to deal with for politicians and
Why is it
policymakers.
difficult?
Just because it's very emotive for parents and.
Because why? Why is it
Because
emotive?
I've heard the argument many times that actually getting people to use reusable nappies is taking women back to the 50s, and they're going to be
Right.
chained to the washing machine and spend
Right.
their whole time cleaning nappies, which
Right.
couldn't actually be further from the truth
So what does it mean for you guys? What does it mean?
in terms of.
Well, in terms of if it's not tying them to the washing machine, it's doing what? It's freeing them. It's giving them more choice. What? How does it make life better?
It makes life better on a number of levels. From an environmental point of view, if you have a child, probably 50% of if you're using disposable nappies, 50% of your waste could be sitting in that bin. The amount of raw materials that are needed to make disposable nappies, as I said earlier, 98% less using reusables, and we know the continual use of raw materials has a massive effect on biodiversity. So in terms of the environmental credentials, really important, but there's the cost element as well.
Right.
£500 or £600 during the baby's time in nappies,
It's
and
a lot of money.
and it's proper circular economy. There's a wonderful second-hand market for reusables, but reusable nappies can be used second or third hand, passed on to friends or family, and then can be repurposed at the end. So the environmental side, the cost side and the health side, there are many more parents that are concerned about the chemicals that are in disposable nappies, and on a practical level, in terms of parents' time, I suppose, we have research to confirm that babies can potty train up to 18 months sooner using reusables because they haven't got the chemicals taking the moisture away from the surface. So actually,
to get those things
it's
off.
easy. So in terms of people being tied to the house and using parents' time, actually, if a baby can come out of nappies 18 months sooner, that's going to save a lot of heartache and a lot of time. So and ultimately bringing it back to the environment, that involves an extra billion nappies a year
Right.
in the UK going to landfill because of that extended time babies and toddlers are in nappies.
Extraordinary. Guy, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
stopping by Hub Culture, the ICE Hub, and I'm Edie Lush.